is Madison Lamb, and I'm the head of marketing and advertising for the landscape and lawn service company A Cut Above the Rest. Lubbock has the second most parks per acre out of all the cities in Texas, with over 70 parks strategically placed throughout the city in order to cultivate a strong sense of community that sets Lubbock apart from all the rest. However, this reputation is being threatened due to the recent neglect of the parks. We here at A Cut Above the Rest understand the magnitude of the problems being faced by the Lubbock Parks and Recreation Department and are here to help. We are a locally owned company and have been improving the Lubbock community for the past 5 years. We as Lubbock citizens take the reputation threat to the community and to the safety of the children personally. We will make it our individual mission not only to repair the parks, but to take them to the next level. We will do this through our full understanding of your problem, which will be further discussed by Accounting and Finance Head Nathan Schmidt, and through our effective and efficient proposal to eradicate the problem, which will be discussed by our lead labor coordinator, Garrett Taylor, as well as our discussion of all the consequences and benefits associated with your problems, which will be discussed by Jacqueline Kim, who is the manager of A Cut Above the Rest. I will now pass it over to Nathan Schmidt, who will be discussing the needs and problems currently faced by the Lubbock Parks and Recreation Department.
Hi, I'm Nathan Schmidt, and I'm in charge of the accounting and finance side of A Cut Above the Rest. I'm here to talk about the potential pitfalls of having unkept parks around Lubbock. Now, the parks around Lubbock are an integral element that makes the city so welcoming. The parks here are a way of conveying just how friendly Lubbock can be. Now, the problem occurs when these parks become so unkept, and as such reflect poorly on the city. Not only does it make the city look bad, but it can be potentially damaging to the reputation of the people in charge of the city, who are tasked with keeping these parks nice and clean. Now, based on a study done at Texas Tech University, over 90% of Lubbock locals believe that having nice parks are a must, and a good look into what a city has to offer. So not only do we want to make these parks look better than ever, but the Lubbock locals also believe strongly in how the community is reflected in these parks. You can compare the parks here to any business. People are going to talk about the positive benefits a little bit, but if these parks continue in this unkept state, the negative reviews will spread like wildfire, because as we all know, when someone has a problem with something, then they're going to go rush off and tell all of their friends. Now, that's not the only problem with having badly maintained parks though. Maybe the most important issue at hand is the safety of our citizens here and their children. I don't need any facts or figures to tell you that kids love playing outside. Not only are the parks here a fun place to play, but parents can trust them because they know the parks are a safe place. But lately, the parks have become so overgrown with bushes and ripe with dead tree limbs. Children could be running around in a big prickly bush, or even go to climb a tree and be open to serious injury if the trees weren't properly maintained. This type of situation is easy to prevent with good maintenance though. As a child growing up, my friends and I always went to go play at the neighborhood park. Unfortunately, no one had been tasked with maintaining this park. So, as parks do, it got overgrown, trees weren't maintained. So one day, my friend went to climb one of the trees, but due to the poor maintenance of the park, the tree limb snapped clean in half, and my friend fell and broke his arm. Now, this is a situation that could have been easily avoided, but now no one goes to the park anymore because of this one bad incident, and it's just a story that everyone around the neighborhood knows. Now, I want only good stories to come from these Lubbock parks. To go over a couple situations of the problems I've just described to you, I'm going to hand it over to Gary.
As we know, we are gathered here today to discuss the local parks and what we as a company bring to the table to solve these problems. We feel that there are two major issues at hand, one being the image of our parks and how it reflects Lubbock as a community, and two, the overall safety of our residents using these parks and we will talk about how A Cut Above the Rest can solve these two problems. We believe that the parks largely reflect the image of Lubbock as a whole. I believe saying a picture is worth 1,000 words holds true here. When you drive by a well-kept park, you think, that's somewhere I'd like to take my family and have a good time. But when you see an unwell-kept park, you think, that looks a little trashy, and you want to just steer clear of that. It is our due diligence to give this contract up to someone with enough pride to restore the image of the Lubbock parks. At a cut above the rest, we feel that we are more than qualified to offer this service, and we take pride in our work being performed, and with our top-of-the-line skilled labor force, we have nothing but the best to offer, from our lawn care all the way to our landscaping services. We are able to provide an extra hour and a half of work being performed per laborer every 8-hour workday, which is substantially significant. This is due to our 55-minute effective hour, which is 10 minutes above the national average in the 2015 Cost Estimated Means Manual. What this effective hour means is, for example, the average is 45. So every hour that you're billed of labor, only 45 minutes is being effectively used for work. We have cost job reports that we are willing to show at a later date to show that we are more efficient than anyone else around. This allows us to pay our workers more, and in return, we receive better work from our employees. This puts us away from our competition, and discussed in our written bid, we have a lead foreman of these laborers. He is also a part owner, which is in charge, and he is in charge of making sure the work is efficient and that the quality control is being maintained, which moved us to our next part, safety. Safety is always a big concern for everybody when an accident happens. But before that accident happens, it's hardly talked about. When the parks become unkept, the risk of injury arise. And like always, the word of an accident can spread like a wildfire. If this happens to the parks, then we will lose individuals who use these parks, which makes the value of these parks decrease significantly. Luckily, we have a solution which includes us mowing the parks once a week at least during our operable season listed in the written bid, as well as us trimming the trees quarterly to get rid of loose and dead branches, because let's be honest, kids will be kids and they will always be climbing trees. So it is our due diligence to ensure that these trees are climbable. Another part of ensuring our park safety is to make sure that our crews operate when the parks are being the least used, which means we do not want any accidents occurring between the people using the parks and our crews. We also know during the springtime the issue of mosquitoes comes up, and then West Nile virus is brought into the picture. Then we know that residents begin to complain and that the city of Lubbock isn't doing anything and that their health and safety is being put into risk. And we know that with the city of Lubbock growing as rapidly as it is hard for the city of Lubbock as a whole to take care of this issue. So that is why we as a company will take the due diligence to come and spray the parks at least twice a week when this time of the season arrives, and take care of those mosquitoes and the harmful insects. This regular maintenance offered by the company is pretty much killing two birds with one stone, because not only does it make it safer, it also improves our image of the parks, which we previously discussed as a problem. So that wraps up a few of our many solutions we have to offer to improve the quality of our parks. And now I will hand it over to Jacqueline about this, where she will discuss the section of visualization.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Kim, and I'm the manager of our company, A Cut Above the Rest. Well, I'm here today to explain to you the benefits and consequences as to whether taking our hand in making a significant change to the Lubbock parks. If you don't implement our lawn services at the Lubbock parks, you can expect several consequences to occur. Let's also take a look at what can be expected when you do implement our services. What you are seeing now is a picture of one of the Lubbock park's current condition. It really is painful to see, even just as a visual. If you see an unwell-kept park, it is a place you probably would want to avoid taking your family to, right? However, with our excellent lawn service, we can cut all the overgrown grass, trim the trees and shrubs, And with just these minor changes, it would make a big impact and make it a much more desirable park in our community. It would no longer be a scratch to our reputation of a beautiful city we reside in. We fix not only the issue of our city's looks, but it makes it a much safer place for the children to play at. Safety is always a big concern, and there needs to be certain steps taken to care for the parks properly and to avoid any issues from occurring. There are so many safety hazards, including higher risk of injury and possible dangerous animals living in the overgrown grass at these parks. Risk of injury arises if parks are not kept up to par. The safety of our residents who use these parks on a daily basis should be a top priority for the city of Lubbock. The second visual that is being shown is of what the park could possibly look like if our company were to work with the city of Lubbock to better maintain these parks. If we were to implement lawn care to landscaping jobs our company offers to make these parks a much better place, not only would the image of our parks and how it reflects Lubbock as a community be for the better, but it will keep the children safe when playing on the playground or running around on the newly cut grass. A cut above the rest can solve these problems efficiently and make a big difference for the city of Lubbock, as Garrett had mentioned earlier. Well, these are some of the major benefits and consequences as to whether Lubbock decides to work with us, a cut above the rest, to improve not only Lubbock's local parks, but the city as a whole together. Now I will hand it back to Madison to conclude with the recap of the main points from this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. As you can see, the Lubbock parks are dangerously close to death, but luckily, a cut above the rest has all the tools to bring them back to life. Not only can we satisfy your current needs, but we provide benefits that go beyond just the basics. With a cut above the rest, the reputation of Lubbock will not just survive, it will thrive. To save the community, the parks, and the safety of the children, take action and hire a cut above the rest today by calling 806-CUT-IT-UP. This number is listed in the written proposal that we have presented to you as well. Don't be the reason the Lubbock parks become extinct. Call 806-CUT-IT-UP. Do the right thing. Save the parks. Save the children. Save Lubbock.